Hello and welcome to Palante, the development of Puerto Rico national. Well, today's segment, the development of Puerto Rico national teams over the last few years. My name is Natalia de Cuba Romero. I was the captain of the first Puerto Rico women's national team way back when dinosaurs walked the earth and women on the island really didn't play football. So I kind of got in under the wire. But today, the growth of women's football on the island has been super explosive. There are girls playing up, down, right, and center. They're making a huge impact, particularly in the Caribbean and the CONCACAF, where Puerto Rico is located. So I am so excited and so happy to welcome Karla Dejardin. Hi, Karla. Karla is the coordinator and team manager for all the national teams of Puerto Rico. So that's masculine, feminine, male, female, however you want to say it. So she has a big job. She has an overview of all of the national teams. And we're going to do a lot of talking with her about how this all goes down. And some of the things we'll touch is how she got to where she is and how she got her start in football on the island. Then we'll go a little bit to the national teams themselves, how the selection happens, how folks can get on the team, whether they're on the island or overseas. Later, we'll talk a little bit about the supporting structures and the relationship with FIFA and CONCACAF, and then a little bit about the future. So that's what we're going to try to cover today. Let's start off with a warm welcome to Karla. Hello, Karla.
Hi, Natalia. I'm so glad to be here. Finally, we make this possible.
I
I
know
know it's a little
you've
hard,
been,
but we're here.
you've been traveling everywhere, and in fact, you are not on the island now. Why don't you tell us all where you are right now?
Right now I'm in Tampa with under 17. The guys have a competition here on the 17 qualified from CONCACAF. They're not here yet. They're supposed to arrive today by 11. So it's gonna be a good competition. It's gonna be a good week, almost a little bit more. And yeah, we're gonna put the Puerto Rican names at the top again.
Excellent. I love to hear it. I'm very excited. Um, so, Karla, let's talk first about team managers and coordinators. Let's tell everybody what it is that you do. What does a team manager or coordinator do?
Well, team managers work hand to hand with the director from for the national team, right? Um, the team manager, the coordinator is what I do right now, like do all the logistic for all the national teams and different federations or different national teams. They have one for each national team, right? In my case, I am the one for all the national teams, girls and boys. So let's see, it's just when you're prepare a vacation plans that you need to know where you're gonna go, where you're gonna stay, where you're gonna travel, the ticket flights, the transportation, where I'm gonna eat, all that for vacation, but for entire delegations. So it's hard, but it's exciting job. And in the meantime, where it's not competition ramming up, so I'm in the office doing the work and administration work like emails, letters, find players, more emails, more scouting, all that. So yeah, it's an administration job. But in this side of the outside of the office is the best part.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, the trips and being with the teams. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. First, I want to talk about how you got here in that. How did you start playing or getting involved with soccer in Puerto Rico and how you moved up to where you are today? How'd that
Well,
happen?
this is gonna be funny because when I get to 11 and 12 years old, I live with my grandma and my mom and my aunt decide to put my cousin in football, right? So he just picked me up in my grandma's house Friday to be in practice by Saturday, just one time in a week. In that moment, I fell in love with football. I didn't know what sport it was, but my titi say, "Okay, Carla, you're gonna play sport." So I just get there and I just realized like I really like this. And then things happen in my life, so I get be adopted and all that is part of my life. And when I move on, I think football is gonna end it in my life, right? So I just used football as escape in that moment. So when I was in middle school, I find my teacher from sport. It was a soccer. It was a football coach too. So I just mixed two sports at the same time, athlete and football. So I just use football as escape, and athlete has to be informed, like shell shape and all that. And when I pass in the time, I feel more like I really want to do this. I really want to make something with football. So I just keep practice and playing and all that. And then when I get in high school, closer from my school, it was a field, right? And then closer from that field, like 2 minutes walking, it was my house. So I just decided, okay, I want to be there. How would I can go to that team? So I just figured it out, and they told me, okay, where you from? Whatever. They give me a scholarship to say something, so I didn't
Mhm.
have to pay to be there, and that was great for me because I didn't have the resource to pay it for. So I just make sure I got all my assessment in the school ready to go before I get to home. And then when I get home, do all the cleaning stuff, prepare all that. So can my mom let me go to practice. So the practice is supposed to be at 7, but I want to be there at 5. I want to be the first one to open the practice and the last one to end in. And it was my time. Be there at the field. It was my moment. I just feel like I need to be here one time in a week, 2 times in a week, because I feel like another person. And all my problems are gone. People think they're not possible, but they do. Like involved in one sport that you feel like is your escape. That was the moment. That was my first moments in sport. And then day by day, year by year, I can grow up as a player, and then I'll be playing with guys all the times because it was not a team from for girls. It was just for boys. But they don't let me out. They just let me there. But at the end, they just calling me like, Karla, I know you are so excited to be here. Do you want to be assistant coach? And I say, oh, I really like that. How can I do that? And they give me all the preparation for that. So I starting be assistant coach for under 5, and then under 7. And then I'll be, yeah, that's the perfect age. And then under 9, and I'll be like coaching since I was 17 to 18, right? So I just keep doing that, and I fall in love to be coach. And I just make that up category to category, and I'll be coaching under 5 to under 13. And then when I move up from that team to another one, it was just feminine. And I take there the little ones, the girls, and then I take the big ones, the under 15 and under 17. That was the best thing in my life to be a coach. And that's how I get into football. I started as a player, has escaped, and then I just move on as an assistant coach and then coach. And I'll be like short time be a referee. I like it, but it was not my thing. So I just do it a couple of months, and then I just realized coaching it was my stuff.
So, I just want to unpack a couple of things in this wonderful story. One is about access, that how important access, the field was there, somebody took you,
Mhm.
all of those things, how important that is. Even without having actual girls' teams, you still had the access, and it was close by your house.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big message for all of us, that access is so important in getting kids who might not otherwise be able to participate to the field,
Yeah.
and giving them scholarships, an opportunity to play with a club, even if they have fewer resources or there's not a lot of extra money to pay for. You
Yeah.
got that. And
Yeah.
then the logistics. So first I had to go to school, then went and I made sure I got all my work done before, and then I went and I did all my jobs, sent home, and then so it sounds like you were a logistics person from the beginning, that you
Yeah.
got good
I didn't
training.
realize that this way, but yeah, you're right.
So a lot to unpack and a lot of great stuff to unpack.
Yeah, it's just Natalia. Somebody have to give you to you the opportunity. That team at that moment is what it was Bairoa. They give me the opportunity, right? So it doesn't matter. It was a boys team. They know I want to be there. So it's just somebody need to trust you. Somebody need to give you the opportunity to do something. And when you have that, don't think is this that I have this, okay, I'm gonna do this and that's it. No, This is the key for open more doors. And at that time, I didn't notice. I didn't think I'm gonna be though in the position that I'm right now. Um, but it's worth it. It was worth it. It was necessary in my life. I didn't know at that time, but who knows the plan of God, right?
Amazing. And speaking of logistics, before I forget, because I got so excited, I completely forgot that here with Athens Women's Football Summit, we are in the lead up to the actual summit. And so I wanted to make sure that we got that message across to our viewers, that the Athens Women's Football Summit is September 22nd and 23rd in Athens. And if you look at your screen, you can scan for tickets, and there is a discount code right there. So I'm sorry I didn't get this right up the top, but I'm sure I will be forgiven. And this is an exciting summit which will discuss all aspects of women's football, from the business end to the coaching end to the access end, just as we've been talking about. It gathers together people who are very well known in the field. For example, Sonia Fulford, CONCACAF Council member, Heidi Pellerano, Chief Commercial Officer at CONCACAF. And of course, CONCACAF is directly related to Puerto Rico and
Yes.
the rest of our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. So if you are able to, I highly recommend September 22nd and 23rd. All
Sounds
right.
good.
So that brings us to the next aspect of your job. Now, you were working with the women's football side up until 2019. And then in 2020, you became coordinator and team manager for the both sides. And you've been doing that since then. What can you tell us about the growth in these national teams? Because I know that at first it was just two senior teams,
Yes.
the senior sides, and now it has sort of exploded. So give us an idea of who you cover and who you work with.
Okay. Well, yeah, as you said before, there's just like they focused before, like a couple of years ago, about the senior team, right? But the real is we got more than just the senior teams as a national team. We got under 14, under 15, under 17, under 20, and the senior team, both sides, the girls and the boys, right? So there's a lot of competitions, right, to develop. For example, for under 14, their CFU is a tournament just for develop that age, and under 15 is from CONCACAF. This year, make CONCACAF under 15 CFU make under 14 for the guys, right? So those tournaments give you the opportunity to do to develop players at the future, because there's whatever happened with the senior team, they're under 20 gonna take it, and then whatever happened with under 20, under 17, and under 15, and then there's gonna be like scale for all the players and all the national teams. So our plan is have a continued for the players, for the girls, for example. Keep it all these players in under 15. Most of the players who played in that national team be under 17, and those with
Mhm.
under 17 be under 20. Of course, there's not going to be the entire team, because they're not longer played anymore, and they don't want to be in football anymore, you name it, right? So there's a couple of stuff that happen, but the thing is trying to get all the girls together. So this is our future. Under 14, under 17, under 15, there's our future to be in under 20, because this is the last category that you be in, and make the senior team. Because we have players for under 20, including under 17. They're playing already in their senior team.
Wow. So really start them as young as possible, getting that international experience, getting that international or national team level training
Yes.
to build veterans. So
Yes.
imagine you're a U14 boy and you're already a veteran at 15 years old,
Yes.
That's wonderful. So how does that happen? For example, let's say you have a, a young girl who is playing somewhere out west in the island, maybe not in the population centers. How do you find your players? And let's talk
Okay,
about on the island
and
first.
okay, so in Puerto Rico is they have a like they got there are teams, local teams, and they're good players. They're like the coaches, for example, they talk together. Listen, I have this girl is pretty good. You can see her. They have game this Saturday. You can show up by the field and see her. Um, there could be an option like the coaches from the national team can go to the field and watch players, local players, and or most of the players are like in different teams. So I coached that girl before. I know how she play, and there's a bunch of girls they have potential to be part of the national team. At the end, it's not our decision who make the cut. This is the coaches. But yeah, but Puerto Rico is not too big. Puerto Rico is not too big, so everyone in football they know each other. So they're gonna communicate between them, and at the end, there are players. There are contact or parents. They are contact the federation. I have a player. I have a girl. They play in this team. How they can be possible to be in a trial and a possible trial
Mhm.
and all that. So if their parents didn't call to federation, I'm talking about local girls.
Mhm.
Um, they probably they're gonna talk it between the coaches. Like if
Mhm.
I have a coach from national team and they say, "Oh, listen, I have a colleague played in this team, and they talk to me about these 3 4 girls," or
Mhm.
even that myself and or by President Jose Cuquito Martinez is the president for the national team, so member. So we visited too, especially the finals when we are in the finals. The leagues are in the finals, so we visit the games. We don't say to somebody, right? We just get there and watch players. So to make the under 15 from Costa Rica, it was a preparation tournament to the CONCACAF ones. We get there and we saw the semifinals to watch players from different teams for
Mhm.
different area from Puerto Rico. We do not send them from just El Área Metro. We just look at forward from different part of Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
So we do that. Not all the time, but we do that. We go to the fields, we watch players.
Okay, and I'm going to backtrack just a little bit when we're under the national team level, just to talk for a second about the progress just in having so many opportunities for girls to play,
Yeah,
because it sounds to me like unlike when I was living on the island and playing and all of that, there weren't really school teams. There weren't any organized leagues. We had to make them. But it sounds like now girls are having the opportunity to play in school, in different clubs all around. Can you just talk about some of those places that you're going to see the girls play or where they're coming out of?
of course, Natalia. Mira, right now we have 2 programs. They didn't exist when I was in school. And right now for me is a like it's a goal for everyone who work would make that possible, because when I was in school there was just practice volleyball, basketball. In a sport, it was not sport, it's kicking ball. I don't know if you remember that one. It's a mix
Well,
between
yeah.
baseball and football, right? So you can kick at the ball, run the base, and all that, right? So right now we got FIFA football for school. I'm gonna
Mhm.
explain what is that, and ESEDAO. Both are programs for um, football specific. Okay, let me explain it. FIFA football for school. It was a program for all the um, teacher from school from physio education, right? So they receive for part of the federation a capacity to be part of the be a coach, right? They give you all the tools that you need, the license and all that. Of course, you need to take a course and all that and pass the course, and to be part to a coach from football, right? Because all the coaches, all the teacher from education for physio is just like they just focus on a couple of sport, but they need a structure. How is the sport doing, right? So we given the tool to prepare the teachers in school, and we introduce football as a part of the class schedule. So football is not is now a part of the education from athlete in the school. Now you're prepared as teacher, so you can give football has a math has a class, and that's a good thing because you started from the beginning, from the school. More the other childrens in Puerto Rico spend more time school, right? So they're in school, they prepare, they do all the the basic research of what is this sport? I want to continue the outside. So how can I do it? So when you're in school, you practice football, and then when you get out, you say, "Mom, I practice this sport in school. Can I practice outside?" And that's how you get in the clubs and different teams. So we give you that tools to the school, and that make possible to bring the sport football at the school. That's one of the stuff, right?
So that again talks about access, and thanks to a cooperation with FIFA and partnerships with
Yeah,
FIFA, the
it's
federation, the
FIFA,
school.
Federation, and the department from school from Puerto Rico.
Wow, that's amazing,
Mhm.
and that's wonderful, and it speaks to how you reap what you sow. If you plant those seeds and nurture those seeds, suddenly you're going to have a bigger program.
Yes, and then the other program that we got is ese DAO. El Albergue Olímpico en Salinas is a sport, it's a school for sport, different sports, right? And
And
then they
just for
have,
our English speaking audience, it's sort of the Olympic Training Center for Puerto Rico. And it's
yes.
a beautiful facility. I did coaching training there a long time
Oh,
ago.
that's good.
Yeah.
And then, well, ESEDAO is the school for athletes, right? They got different sport, and then they don't have football so well like a bunch of years ago,
Hmm.
and that program it was closed. I guess I don't want to mess up, and then we take back that program like a year ago, almost 2 years now, and then we got players, we got girls and boys study in the school, practice in the school, and living from football. So there's a balance from football and classes, right? They be there from Friday to Saturday, from Sunday to Friday, and then they go back the weekends with the parents, and they go back. So he's around his football all the time to be an elite athlete. Specific at our program is football. So they got the field there. They got his coaches. He's prepared. They study in the afternoon, so they practice in the morning, and they got two sections from practice. You name it. It's a dream come true to be.
Wow.
Yeah, and that program is so solid. They have a lot of potential, a lot of support from the federation, and then Department for Education from Puerto Rico. But it was not be possible. It's the federation getting to that, right? Because they need support. And then when I mean support, it's more than yes, it's support people who work with that and pay for it, right? So
Absolutely.
those
Funding.
players, yeah, those players don't pay nothing to be there.
Wow.
We just take care for that.
And is that on the high school level?
They got both. They got middle school and high school.
Wow, that is terrific. What a wonderful program, and what an interesting piece of news. It's a great facility,
Yes.
and it's a beautiful drive from San Juan or from Ponce. So
Yes.
beautiful. I miss my island. Um, so that's how some of how they're coming up. So let's go back now. You have scouted some of the girls, you pointed them out. They get invited to a trial. What
Yes.
happens then?
Okay. When we have a competition, I can say it's not all the time. I hope so we can make that possible in the future. But our reality is another one, right? All the competition gets too close one to the other one. So we have so short time to make the scouting, be together, the team, the girls, and then go to the competition. So in the meantime, day by day, we receive a bunch of emails, a bunch of contacts, a bunch of people interested to be part of the national team. I already explained to you how we trying to find the girls in the island, but they are another way to find the girls who can be part of the national team, but they're now living in Puerto Rico, but they still have the same rights as the other girls, right? So we have a bunch of girls who live in US. It doesn't matter because the parents move on, or they born in Puerto Rico but they moved to US. For example, Maria, we lost a bunch of athlete from Puerto Rico to US because Maria.
Because of
It
the
is not because
hurricane,
they want
Maria. Mhm.
Hurricane Maria. It's not because they want to, it's because they're necessary, right? At that moment. So we cannot just be a part for those people. They deserve to be they deserve to be watching as the local players. So um believe it or not, Natalia, our first or the biggest one window to see players is social media. Every time we got a competition, we upload photos, we upload communicated and different platforms. I receive every time I have in a competition bunch of emails, bunch of contacts because they saw us like, oh, there's the national team from football. My daughter played football. They're from US. How can be in contact with them? And they just stop writing. And that's how I find a lot of girls from social media, and we do the scouting, but it's a trick because I just explained to you before, when you are when you got a Latino last name, for us it's more easy, right? Because I can ask you, are you Latina or your mom is Latina? It doesn't matter you speak Spanish or not, because un Diaz, un Alvarez, un Hernandez, there's last name Latino, so it's more easy. But when the child's born in the US, they got his father last name, so probably the father is not Latino. It's a little hard to pick those girls. So they got like aguja en un pajar, right? So you have to pick them up. But it's that's why I'm trying. I'm gonna use that window. I'm sorry to say that all the people who watch. If you know players who live in US can be part of the national team, don't be shy. Contact us, right? Send an email. Call to the foundation. Always gonna be there to Monday to Friday. Because we know we got players outside and we want to be there, like we want to sell the player, we want to sell the girls. It's hard, but we still can't do it. Like if there are players, they can we have a scouting, our director do that. Our director live in US, and they find bunch of players, girls and guys, and that's helped a lot. But in the meantime, we still have players that's underground, we don't see it, but there's good girls, good talent.
Okay,
And
so let me just ask a question before we go on, because there's two parts. One is, if you're living in the diaspora,
yeah.
what is the criteria for playing in Puerto Rico?
Okay.
Do you have to have a grandparent, a parent? What is
Okay.
the
Okay. If you live in US and you want to be part of the national team from Puerto Rico, just three step, not step, but there you need to be first born in Puerto Rico. It doesn't matter. You move into to US when you got months old. It doesn't matter. If you're born in the island, you can be part of the national team, right? You can represent, I'm sorry, Puerto Rico. The second of all is your parents, mom, dad, are Puerto Ricans, like they're born in Puerto Rico. You can be part of the national. You can be part of or represent Puerto Rico. Or even if your grandpas, grandma and grandpa for both sides, mom and dad, actually you can represent Puerto Rico as a national team. And then the last one, but it's not depend on us, is when you live in Puerto Rico for more than 5 years and you make citizens, right? But this is not depend on us. It's you need to submit all the document necessary and all that to the and have a passport and see, okay, I mean more than 5 years and I can nationality. But at the three more important is it doesn't matter you live or not in Puerto Rico, but your parents or your grandparents are Puerto Rican, you can represent Puerto Rico as a national team.
Oh, that's great. And when we talk about social media and what you receive from coaches on in the diaspora, on the mainland, or in other places, what is the most effective way for a player to send you? What do you need to see from them in order to then give them a look?
Okay, see, when somebody contact me, has to be, oh, listen, my daughter play football and I want to be somebody watch her. That's great to me. Okay, I can write it back or I can call it back. I don't mind. And I just thought, okay, I'm gonna need a resume athlete, right? How since when she started, how old she is, how tall, the skills, the basic for information, right? And then if you got highlights for games, of what tournament that you won with your team, with your local teams, what was your last competition, um, everything that involved has a player, I really want to know, right?
Mhm.
But in my opinion, I just ask people for highlights. I'm sorry, but people send them to me like seconds, right? But we can saw you play, but we can saw what you want me to see, but it's more than that. So if you can make that video shortlet but not too short, so I can just see the technique, the ability, how you move and how you like do that. Because have a goal, I notice a goal is not, they don't tell me that you're a good player. It's more than that, right? Because I see defense, I see goalkeeper do a good job. So send a video with how you do in different games, competition, practice, even practice. People don't send videos with practices. That's a good short you can make, right? And when you got all that information, you send them to me. I send them to the director. The director make the scouting. They call the coaches. They go to they call the university is they need a case and ask them for the play. Listen, I receive a resume for Natalia. Can you tell me about her? And the coach is gonna tell them, right? Coach it to
Mhm.
coach it. They're gonna tell them. And then the coach is the one who make the last decision. Okay, I saw that girl. I really like that girl. Can somebody invite it so I can see it before the competition? And that's a good thing. So they can send a email. I'm gonna say in Spanish, but I can type it if the people want to see it.
Mhm.
Selecciones.nacionales@fpfpuertorico.com. I'm gonna write it. Somebody want to the email, and the phone number is 939-237-4760. It's a phone just exclusive for national team. So don't worry about it. You can call me anytime. You can text me anytime. And if you don't have a daughter or people who interested, but you know from your team that you know there's a player, there's a good player, and you saw that girl is Puerto Rican, that girl can play for the national team, and you know that you can just call me to like, hi, and it means I don't know, and my team is a girl, they can be possible to play for the national team, so you can recommend them to me players too. So that's a good one. That's a good access. My phone number and the email directed to the director and directed to the coach.
Okay, and it looks like we have some questions coming in also about this. So thank you, Karla. This is such great information.
Yes.
As the mother of a player, Oh, and here's Crystal. Crystal wants to know if there is a women's league in Puerto Rico. Karla, you want to
Yes.
answer that one?
Yes, Krista. Hi. Yes, it's a league in Puerto Rico. We have the youngest one, and we got their senior team. And right now, the senior team and the youngest is not starting yet. But the next semester, it was a good one. With the senior team, the one who won get championship, it was Puerto Rico Sol from Mayagüez, and the second place is Caribbean Stars. It's just a team for just girls. I would working in that team when I was a coach too. So yeah, we have a league in Puerto Rico. And 2021, we started for the first time the youngest league in Puerto Rico for just feminine. So that's a
So
good thing. Yes.
yeah, so it's wonderful because you do need the structure. I remember when we were first getting leagues together, really we did sort of mini tournaments, trying on our way to have regularly scheduled games. But Karla, as you know from being a logistics person, organizing a league, getting everybody's game schedules together, it's really hard. It's not particularly easy
Hmm.
to be able to do that. I do want to go back to one question about the language. A lot of times, and I was born in Queens.
Hmm.
I learned my Spanish working very, very hard, but oftentimes. People who are of Puerto Rican descent but born in the States don't have the same opportunities to perfect their language skills. Does that make a difference when they're being selected for the national team? Is Spanish a requirement?
Not at all. Not at all. Listen, I'm born in Puerto Rico, and in my English, I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay.
I think you're
And
doing great.
yeah, and then my mom, it was born in the U.S., so that's how my English is, because in my house we speak both, right? And if you know both language, um, it's a good thing for you as a person. But don't be shy if you don't speak Spanish and you want to represent Puerto Rico as a national team. That's a matter. That's nothing to be afraid. This is nothing to interview like, oh, you don't speak Spanish, you're not gonna be part of the national team. That's no, no, no.
Mhm.
Our team, our staff, other players, they're mixed. They're mixed. Like we have players from US that speak Spanish, and we are players from US that don't speak Spanish. We got coaches from US. We got, for example, our coach for their senior team, Nathaniel Gonzalez. He's Latin too. His mother is from the island. He born in US. He knows English. He speaks Spanish. They try. So it doesn't matter. Like you can speak Spanish, English, French. Doesn't matter. If you want to represent Puerto Rican, you have the talent and the coaches want to be there, you're gonna be part of the national team. So the language is not gonna be a problem because if you speak Spanish, I can speak Spanish to you. If you speak English and you prefer to speak in English, you can speak English to me. We don't that's not gonna be a problem.
Excellent. Yeah, Puerto Rico is not a language; it's a people.
Yes, it's the people. I heard that. I heard that some
You did?
video
I
that
think I just
somebody.
made that up.
Yeah, I no, I heard that somebody said. I see a video
Really?
that somebody Puerto Rico is not the island, is the people. That was
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
really
I
good.
love it. I love it. So we're going to, as we move on to the next part of the conversation, let's get the number for selecciones nacionales on the screen so that people can write that down if they've got a player, if they have further questions. And that is Karla's dedicated line for selecciones nacionales for the federation. So you can call. Um,
Yes.
her personal
All
line, we're
tests.
not sharing that
It doesn't matter. Yes.
number. So we've got that on the line, and you can always ask her questions if you've got a player who you would like to have a look, or you have questions about the program in Spanish or English. She's ready to answer.
Yes.
Um, so the next part of what I'd like to talk about is the kind of support that you have from the different entities, because it's become clear during our conversation that without the support of FIFA and CONCACAF, be it in creating access, creating opportunities, giving training, offering funding, those seem to be really, really critical parts of how the Federation is being so successful now.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that? What kind of things you work with those organizations on?
Okay. First of all, we got like 100% support for our foundation. That's the top. That's the beginning, right? Because if your mom is not support your sport, then you cannot play the sport, right? So our foundation support 100% all the programs, including national team. If they're not be possible, we cannot. Cannot be here in Tampa doing this game. It doesn't matter. CONCACAF sending to us, hey, you have this competition, you have to go. If the federation they want to, they have to work with CONCACAF. But if they don't want to support, then what you're gonna do, right? So
Mhm.
we got the 100% support for the federation. I can just guarantee it. Like it's not like I'm a like yeah you say that because you work there. No, I can I beat in federation where since now, but I watch what we got before and after. See, I got the both sides. When I was a player and on what we got now. And I can tell you, Natalia, we got 100% support. And it's hard because we want to do more. And I know that we want to do more, but it's hard because we need resources. We need people to trust us, believe in us, because this is at some point the federation, FIFA, and CONCACAF, they can take it, right? But
Mhm.
there's gonna be a part that if you don't move forward with a little help, we can't.
Mhm.
And when I mean help, I mean like yeah, we receive fund from CONCACAF and FIFA, but they're ready for something, right? They say, okay, I'm gonna send
Mhm.
it this to you, but this is just a specific for this, and this. And then we
Mm.
have to do without something. And then we need somebody to trust the process, because this is a process, Natalia. You starting from the beginning where there's nothing around us, and
Mhm.
Now you see the national team and you see, whoa, this is huge different when I was a player. And now this is what we get now. We are in the four best team in the world from CONCACAF tournament. We had the same skit with the same final for under 20 and under 17. So that means something. That means something. We changed the league, the group from the guys for the senior team. We came at the last minute. We won 4 games. We just lose one with the qualify for the senior team to be in the World Cup, right? And we are there. We just need a little push. I need somebody to support the program, the national team. And when I say support, Natalia, sounds hard to believe, but we need like somebody involved, money, support with something, right? Because they're players we have to pay, staff that we have to pay, program that we have to pay, right? To be there. And then yes, we receive from FIFA and CONCACAF, but as I say before, they're ready for something. And it's a just short part from national team, but it's not enough. We
Mhm.
got we got so many national teams, like I said before, under 14, under 15, under 17, under 20, under senior team. There's a bunch of girls. And we still have the program to give you an example. I don't want to be like so repetitive here, but to concentrate the under 17 before in the competition, we got the under 17 1 week concentrate in Salinas
Mhm.
with a bunch of girls. And then for those bunch of girls, we make the cut from 20, right?
Mhm.
So we want to do that all the time, but they need to be like erase use. Like I need to put money here so that can make possible. So
Right.
that yeah, that's something that we want to work. It's gonna happen. I trust. I know that's gonna happen, but not right now. There are people and they need to trust us, but they can give you the opportunity. See, when you graduate from college and you take your resume and you take into the first job and say, yeah, but you need experience. But nobody give me the experience. Somebody has to, right? It's the same thing.
Right. So, so funding in the long run
Yeah.
is critical.
Yes.
Well, given and the FIFA funding and the targeted CONCACAF funding and
Yes.
what you've done with the national teams, I just want everybody to hear what you have done so far. That's been so amazing. I've been able to follow some of the live streams at different tournaments and see the girls play, which is super exciting. Can you tell us some of the highlights recently of
Well,
the national teams?
yeah, different competitions, you mean, right? Well,
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of experience behind the scenes that people don't know, right? To be there to just make sure those girls have everything they need, the best of the best.
Hmm.
It's a bunch of stuff they happen they didn't know, right? When we got a feel and there's not in condition to practice, but when they get there, everything is so clean. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff. If I can start it, let me see. For under 17, right? There's there's a group from different part that we that with that team we got girls from different part US, and Puerto Rico, and they're not like connected what they supposed to do. And I get all days all night I get just talking to the girls. Listen, this is a team that you need to talk, like this is like psychological, like you need to talk to the players, like listen, right now you represent Puerto Rico. You're not represent your local team. You represent has a national team, and they're I'm sorry, they have to do bonding together. They have to like work. You just have I just told them the girls every time we got a concentration. Listen, you're here and you just have 2 jobs, well 3 jobs: sleep, eat, and play. That's it. That's you only 3 responsibility right now is that. So behind that, whoa, it's a logistic word that I just has to make sure everything is on point. My coaches have whatever they need. My staff have the whatever they need. The girls have everything, and it's a challenge, but they don't know nothing.
They don't know what happens in the back.
No, they don't have to, Natalia. They don't have to. They need to be focused.
And speaking about the front end, that U17 girls team, can you tell us about their latest success? Because they had a wonderful tournament, and
Yeah, they got
everybody's going
yeah.
to want to hear what they're up to.
Yes, you remember the Ave Phoenix from Harry Potter? You see that movie? They just born in the same and they rise from the
Uh-huh.
ashes. We
Hmm.
do the same thing. We're on the seven. The same thing. Like I know from the beginning because our first game it was US and Costa Rica, and I know like we lost those games, so people think like that they are like there not be possible to we want to make the cut, whatever. So I know it's hard. And then people say, oh, okay, Puerto Rico lose. Oh, okay, Puerto Rico lose against Costa Rica. But the coaches was so exciting, and then they trust a lot in his team and they work a lot, and we make to the four best teams, right? We be
Woohoo!
there with US, Mexico, Canada, and us. And then we rise again from the head for the edge, and then we be there and we prove it again that Puerto Rico is in the last four teams, the
Mhm.
best four teams. So
So
yeah,
exciting.
it's
So
hard. Is
exciting.
it different? Because I just told them, and then my hair is just
I
like
know.
yeah, it's different because under 20 they'll win more than losing games. If we just lose one game, it was against US. It was just one. Yeah, in the first round, right?
Yeah.
And then but we see like, oh my God, we are there. We can make this. We can make this, and we lose against Canada. But at the end, we get best of the fours, right? And then we do the same thing when under 17, when people think it's not going to be possible, we there and we make it, and we are again for the best. It was the same four
True.
teams,
Hmm.
under 20 and under 17, the best four teams.
That's so
So it's
thrilling. And I
not
think we have another question coming up.
yes.
Um, so let's see it. Are there any sponsors for the women's national team? Do we have big sponsors paying for uniforms and all that stuff?
Well, I really want to say Cristal we have, but we don't. Entonces, yeah, we got everything that we got here. We pay for it, and I can tell you like a couple of people to give you some help, like, but not the biggest one. To see, okay, I sponsor the national team from Puerto Rico to give you all this they need.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's a bad thing because we really hope this coming through in the future, not too long away, but more closer than the future,
Hmm.
because we need that, Cristal. We need that support because that's gonna help a lot. I just realized like US team, there's not US team because it's because somebody put $8 million there to be grown up, right? So
Hmm.
that's the way.
Right, and it's difficult. Thank you, Crystal, for a couple of great questions, and keep them coming. It is so important to have funding and equal funding for players. We've seen across the world how much of a difference it makes.
Mhm.
Title IX in the United States,
Yeah.
which demands equal treatment for athletes, male and female, is 50 years old. Now, who's on top of the world in terms of female athletes? The United States is right up there with other countries that invest in their
That's
athletes.
the word,
Mhm.
invest. That's
Yeah.
the key, Natalia. We have to, but we're not like hand tied. Like we don't have something to invest, and
Hmm.
we need that research because that's how we're gonna just being in Mexico a couple of weeks ago, and it was Jill Hills, the coach from U.S. national team, and
Hmm.
she told me before you get the best players, you have to get your best staff, right? To
Hmm.
have the best team, you have to have the best coach, and to have the best coach, you have to invest to have a good coach.
Yeah.
A good coach, mean a girl or guys, doesn't matter, but you have to have the best of the best to have the best team, right? And for
Mhm.
that, you need to invest. And that's true. But I just told them that, yeah, I want to. My federation support a lot this, but how can I do that? How can I give more step forward to make this possible? Either way, without nothing, we're still doing, Natalia, because when we got COVID, and everything sport it was closed, including all the Puerto Rican, it was closed.
Mhm.
We travel January, February, and March to Dominican Republic in Punta Cana to
Mhm.
concentrate the senior team, the girls and the guys.
Mhm.
Because we know by March we got the competition for the guys, and by April we got the competition for the girls, and we concentrate for more than almost 3 weeks both national teams. And where they come from that money? The federation. When
Mhm.
everything was closed, all the sports was closed, but we do because we believe. in our future. We believe in the national team. We believe what we can do. Have this flag and this love in the next World Cup, because we trust in our team and we trust in our federation. That's why
Well,
we invest in that.
Well, speaking of the best staff, I know that they have a treasure in you, doing your work with great enthusiasm and dedication. We have just a few minutes left. So,
Yes.
speaking of moving forward into that future, what are your goals and concrete goals? Where is the team? Where are the teams going to be rated? Are they going to be number one in CONCACAF? Will we be able to crack the top five? In our region. What are we shooting for here?
Well, my answer is yes, yes, and yes. We're gonna work with that. We're gonna be in the best five teams. We're gonna be there, Natalia. It's just step by step, right? Right now, we are focused and prepare all these little ones, the 14, the 15, right? Because the senior team is the senior team, but the ones who are gonna make it the senior team is gonna be the little ones, and then
Mhm.
and then we're gonna be there. We're gonna crash it. We really want to prove the people who don't trust the football feminine
Mhm.
specific. We're gonna prove them we can do this, and we're gonna be able to do this, because it's not a compare. You cannot compare girls and boys. You can't. There's difference. This is when you're trying to compare Messi to Cristiano. You can't do that. Girls play football different than the guys.
Mhm.
We trying to be there different than the guys, and speaking myself and speaking for my national team, girls are more given more hard to be part of the national team. I can tell you that, Natalia.
Mhm.
Abby, I got the experience to be part of the national team when I was younger, and
Mhm.
unfortunately I get injured in my knees that I cannot complete it the way I supposed to. But at the beginning, to just realize I can be part of the national team, and I can receive my letter. See, Karla, you be selected to be part of the national team. It's a bumping in the heart that you cannot imagine. You
Oh, I
cannot
can imagine. I've been there. Oh my God.
cannot express them with words. And then
Mm.
I'm not in the field right now. I'm in this part of the administration now, and I'm still get nervous. I cried. I get excited. I get hitches. I get all the
I know.
everything.
My hair stands on
Yeah,
end.
yeah, it's exciting too. Like I feel I represent Puerto Rico, not as a player anymore, but I represent Puerto Rico as in this part, and it's feel the same thing. So if I feel this way, imagine those girls, imagine those other guys who express and sing the anthem with so much passion. See, and then the future is complete the World Cup, beating the World Cup. I know it's hard, sounds hard. I know, but right now, I see what we create, and I see where we right now, how the federation is the levels level, and I say, okay, we don't have nothing when I was a player, but now we got a bunch of stuff. We're still missing, but it is a different. Probably we're not gonna see it. Probably I'm not gonna see it when we're working in the federation. Who knows? It's not gonna be 4 years or gonna be 5 years. Who knows? Hopes God no. But because I really want to see it inside. But it's hype. I have to see it outside. I'm gonna be glad because I can tell them myself I be working. Part of that things happen. You
Thank
too,
you so
Natalia,
much.
because you've been in the national team before, and then you make this webinar possible. You being part of these national teams from Puerto Rico, growing up, doing something from being in the houses and the computer from everyone and all other around the world. So yeah, you'll be part of the of this thing happen. So for good.
Well, thank you so much, Karla. It's been so great. If we could get the email and the number back up on the
Yes,
screen so that anybody who missed it can get that. There we go. So you can email or call Karla
anytime.
and let her know that you have a player that wants to share in that experience and have an opportunity to share in that experience, because there's nothing like it.
No,
Um,
I really want to, like Natalia, if somebody contact me for this webinar, I really want to know so I can just share with you and say, Natalia,
Oh,
listen, I
please
found
do.
players
Yeah.
for
Tell
your
them
webinar.
Natalia and Athens Women Football Summit sent you.
Yes, yes, that would be great.
And
I'm so glad.
Thank you so much, Karla. And of course, we'll be talking again soon. I do
We do.
want to thank Athens Women's Football Summit for making this webinar possible. And perhaps we can get on the screen again another thing. There we go. That's the thing I was trying to say. So you can scan your tickets, Athens Women's Football Summit. The actual summit is in Athens, September 22nd and 23rd. It's online as well as in person, I believe. So you'll have an opportunity to share in the excitement and all the wonderful speakers and all the great stuff that's going to be happening there. So from Natalia de Cuba Romero and Karla Dejardin, my esteemed guest, thank you so much for paying attention to us today and being with us today. We appreciate it. Crystal, thank you so much for your questions. And we look forward to seeing you for the next webinar as we discuss some more issues about bringing up players, colleges, all of that sort of stuff that we want for our young players. All right. Take care, everybody, and thank you again. Muchísimas gracias a todo el mundo de corazón. Hasta pronto.
Gracias. Bye.